Sorry Carnage, I love ya, but there are some things that needs to be addressed. So the Venom spin-off film is due to come out next year, and already we have been getting some news about this film here and there, and according to a variety of sources that they've already have their main villain for the Venom spin-off film. And to no one's surprise, the main villain for the Venom spin-off film is of course Carnage. And seeing as how Carnage was in a number of scripts over the years, it seems like an almost guarantee that he will in fact be the film that they're going to stick with. Now on the surface, it does seem like a good idea because after all, Carnage is Venom's arch nemesis. But that's where the problem truly lies. Carnage is Venom's #1 villain. And seeing as the Venom spin-off film is already meant to introduce us to the character of Eddie Brock, as well as how the Venom symbiote works, if you were to include Cletus Cassidy as well as the Carnage symbiote, then that would be too much crammed in for a single film. And to me, Carnage would fit better if he was a villain for a sequel. Now don't get me wrong, I love Carnage, as a matter of fact he is my all-time favourite villain. If you were to introduce him into the Venom spin-off film, then you're gonna have a huge problem that most first installments tend to have, and that's the fact that although they have compelling protagonists, their villains are often weak. And if you were to throw in Venom's arch nemesis right here and then that's just going to be very problematic. It's almost like having the first Batman film revolving around Hush, a character who is very compelling in his own right, as well as having a lot of ties to Bruce Wayne. And to me, Hush is the perfect example of a villain that is better off for a sequel. But honestly, this is how I feel about Carnage. Now I know what all of you guys are probably going to be thinking right now. If you're not going to include Carnage in the Venom spin-off film, then who could Venom possibly go up against? Now I just thought up of 3 villains that Venom could go up against in his first solo outing. First of all, we have the Sin Eater. Now I'm not the biggest expert when it comes down to this character, however I do know that he has some ties revolving around Eddie Brock and his origin in becoming Venom. Now in the comics, Eddie Brock before becoming Venom was working at the Daily Bugle, and that he has published a story in which the Sin Eater has been caught. However, it turns out that Spider-Man caught the real Sin Eater, and as a result, Eddie Brock has been claimed to be a liar and lost his job at the Daily Bugle. So it would be rather interesting if that in the Venom spin-off film all of this backstory remains intact, however the real Sin Eater decides to escape from prison and continues doing a bunch of shit. And in Eddie's mind, that if he decides to track down the Sin Eater and kill him, then that would mean that he has fixed one of his errors. Now I know what you guys are probably thinking, that the Sin Eater has no chance when it comes down to going up against Venom. However, you could have the Sin Eater to have some enforcers at hand. Maybe Mysterio for instance? Now the second one sounds a bit bizarre at first, but I would honestly go for Man-Wolf. And please hear me out on this one. Now if you go with the 90s Spider-Man animated series route, then you would know that Jameson was an astronaut. For a while he went into space in order to do a mission. However, as he was about to return to Earth, his ship was about to crash, which led to Spider-Man in trying to save Jameson's life. Spider-Man does save Jameson, but as a result, because the symbiote was also on this ship, it bonds itself into Peter Parker. And the rest is history. And if you go with that route, then at the very least you could tie up with the Man-Wolf as well as the symbiote's origin. And also you could say that Jameson does have the gemstone, and as Eddie Brock becomes Venom, you could have Jameson become the Man-Wolf for the first time. And Jameson's mission is essentially try to recollect the symbiote by any means necessary, even if it means him becoming the Man-Wolf to do so. And honestly, I think this is an interesting angle to take with the Venom spin-off film. Or you could just go completely simple and just have Scorpion. Because at the end of the day, the Scorpion is nothing more but a crook who just kills people. And also, the Scorpion in general is more than a match for Eddie Brock's Venom. And like I said, the Scorpion is a mass murderer, so he fits right at home for an R-rated Venom film. Plus, let's not forget, Scorpion at one point was Venom. So maybe in the end, you could have the Venom split so that you could have Venom versus Venom, or even do some foreshadowing so that you could have Scorpion become the future Venom for another film or something. And no matter which villain you pick, you could literally have an ending in which Eddie Brock gets sent back to prison, as well as losing the symbiote, and then in the end have the symbiote come back to Eddie Brock and break him out of prison so that they can become Venom again. And then in the post-credits scene have Cletus Cassidy getting sent back to his cell and discovering the best that Eddie Brock did while escaping from prison, and then just have Cletus Cassidy discovering the red symbiote and then just end it off there. And to me this is the perfect way to introduce Carnage for the sequel. And then just have Carnage be the villain for the sequel and let him do his own thing. And I know plenty of people want to see Carnage sooner rather than later, and honestly I am with you guys on that. However, I want Carnage done right. And if you were to introduce the Carnage symbiote for the first AllTime, then that is too much to explain for a film. And the same could be said for any other version of a symbiote. Whether you're talking about Scream, Toxin, Hybrid, or just a variety of other symbiotes. Because if you were to introduce one of the offsprings of a symbiote, then you would have to explain how the symbiote works and how it spawns. But at the end of the day, I do want this Venom solo film to work. And as painful as it is for me to admit this, Carnage isn't a good way to go and that he is better off for a sequel villain. So do you want to see Carnage appear in the Venom solo film, or would you rather have the character saved for the sequel? Comment below and share some thoughts. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video, please like and subscribe, take care and have a good one.